talking about tips and tricks to manage your weight peacefully. I am not into diets. I don't believe in counting calories, going on a diet, or anything that has to do with a diet mentality. So what we want to do here is really help you be more aware of what you're doing. When there's a heightened awareness, things just happen naturally. So without further ado, I really do want to dig and dive deep into this topic. This is going to be a lot of fun. I've brought some visuals here just to be able to discuss these pointers through. So the first one that I have is drinking a tall glass of water, it's like a 16-ounce plus glass, before eating your dinner, because it'll fill you up. Sometimes thirst can be misconstrued for hunger. So it is really important to make sure that you're fully hydrated, because you might think that you're hungry when you're actually thirsty. And we're really looking for at least 8 to 12 is what I tell people. The more water you can get in, the better, keeping you hydrated, keeping you full. So bottoms up to that water, people. Number 2. Bulk your meals up with fiber. So I always tell people, try to get in more vegetables into your meals. You know, the obvious ones are adding a salad or doing a little stir fry or steaming a vegetable. But something you could try to do, if you've got a dish with ground meat, what you could do is you could swap half of that protein with some mushrooms. Because mushrooms are really hearty, and especially the portobello mushrooms, you grill those up and chop them up, you can throw them into your sauces or anything you're using with ground beef, and it'll just taste like meat. It'll be pretty darn close to it. Fiber fills. Fiber takes longer to go through your GI tract than carbohydrates do, so you really want to make sure that you're bulking up with fiber. There was a study from the Nutrition Journal showed that when there was contrast on a plate, people tended to eat less. Fascinating. So if I had a white plate, right, I would want to use the white plate if I had maybe, let's say, a piece of steak, some pasta with a bunch of red sauce. The visual makes them eat less. Now, if you want to eat more of something, for example, if you wanted to eat more greens or lettuce or broccoli, you would want to put food on a green platter. That would allow your brain to kind of register and say, oh, I want to eat more of that. So if you really want to eat a little less, try to have more contrast on your plate. If you're concerned about too many carbohydrates, oh my God, I end up eating a lot of carbs, consider using your carbohydrate as a topper, right? So if you have a stir fry, bulk it up with double the amount of vegetables, add the protein, and then consider adding a half a cup of brown rice or white rice or whatever carb you like right on top. So using it as a topper instead of a base. Eat sitting down. How many of you actually sit down while you're eating lunch or dinner or breakfast? Sitting down, really important. You end up eating less calories versus when you're standing up. How fascinating is that? Because you're more mindful, right? You're sitting at the table and you're actually looking at your food versus grabbing half a sandwich, washing a dish, answering the phone, checking your email or your social. Sitting down actually decreases the amount of food that you eat. Eating out of large containers such as this. If I sat here and ate this whole family-sized package, I would be in trouble. You want to portion these things out into smaller bowls and put them away, and then go to wherever you want to have them. I tell people to eat them really slowly so you can chew and taste and feel the crunch. These are actually really delightful. I really like them. They've got a little salt and a little sweet. It's like popcorn. They're not potato chips. They're not fried and they're not heavy like that. If I ate the whole container or the whole bag, we would be in trouble. Eating things from not huge containers, portioning them out, bringing them with you, and then putting that big package away is also going to help you. Your salad last. Has anybody heard about salad being eaten last? I thought this was really, really incredible. Now, we eat our salad last. I don't know why, but we just do. What's really fascinating about this is that it kind of stops you from going back to get seconds. It really allows your brain to catch up with your stomach. So once you've had that first main course and then you sit down with a salad, it kind of slows you down. You fill up a little bit on the fiber and then you kind of reassess and you're like, I feel like I'm pretty good. I don't think I need any more. Thank you very much. So having the salad last versus having it first, okay, can actually help you consume less of the main meal. The other one, which I really, really, really like, is slurping your appetizer. So I love soup. Now, soup is incredible because soup is just a lot of liquid. Obviously, we don't want you to have broccoli cheddar soup. When I say soup, I mean like a vegetable soup or a brothy type of soup. You want to maybe start with your soup first. Again, you're consuming a lot of the liquid. Okay, you've had your glass of water, you filled up on that. Now you're having a small bowl of soup. You're getting fiber from the vegetables. Again, we're not talking about like a heavy duty cream soup. It's a study that was conducted from Penn State, and people who had soup before their main meal ended up consuming 20% less calories than people that did not have the soup. Isn't that interesting? If you don't have time to make a soup, make double and triple in your crock pot or in your big soup pot, freeze, and then you'll have it for a rainy day. Or if you're in a pinch, you can always get the Tetra Pak soup or the canned soup. As long as it's the lower sodium variety, you could just throw it in a pot, heat it up, add some frozen vegetables, and there's your soup. Salad, like I've said in the past, you can do the box salad. We put tongs in spring mix, and that's our vegetable Sundays when I'm super busy and I don't even have time to roast or grill or steam a vegetable. So if you take the 30 minutes to prepare the meal, the soup can be made in tandem. I want to say something about buffets. 75% of diners put the first food they saw on their plate. Whatever you ended up putting on that plate would be 2/3 of what you ended up with. So what you want to do if you're ever in a buffet situation, you want to walk the perimeter and kind of look and see what you got and try to go towards the healthier fare first, because you're going to end up putting more of it. The other piece is alcohol, and you all know that alcohol has calories, right? Whether it's beer, wine, spirits, especially if you're doing some cocktails or margarita. There was a study that was conducted, and I thought that was really fascinating, that the bartenders were pouring 20% less in a tall glass versus a short, and sip it slowly. Really enjoy the drink and try to limit it to one, because you are getting a lot of that excess calories from any kind of alcohol, okay? So you want to be mindful of that. Limit mealtime distractions. If you are distracted by your phone, by a television set, if you're multitasking while you're eating, there are very excellent chances that you are going to consume more than if you were to sit down and really focusing on your meal. So put the phones away, put the iPads away. Don't work while you're eating for lunch. If you can even leave the office desk for 20 minutes or 30 minutes and just shut it all down, you will end up eating less. Using smaller serveware in dishes. I measured this morning. This is a 9-inch dinner plate, and this is what a dinner plate should look like. Now, I dug up another dinner plate that I had. Look at this monstrosity. I swear, this must be for 3 people. I don't know what the heck I was thinking when I purchased this. I don't know, maybe a serving platter? But this is not 9 inches, people. Let's measure this out. This is 11.5 inches. If you are presented with a small plate, you will end up putting less food. If you are presented with a huge plate or huge utensils, you will end up putting more on your plate. And this is a fact. Now check this out. How much cereal do you think is in this cup? Do you think it's 1 cup, half a cup, or a cup and a half, or 2? People, 1 cup, 1 cup. Do you see how that looks? Would you not be more prone to add more food to this bowl rather than this? This just looks like less. Moral of the story, change out your dinnerware. I have clients that tell me that they'll serve themselves with a serving spoon. Now, serving spoons vary. This is a serving spoon. This is a serving spoon. This is a smaller serving spoon than this one. How much rice did you have? Oh, I had a serving spoon. And they don't mean a tablespoon, they mean a serving spoon. They're huge. And believe me, when somebody serves themselves, it's not flat, it's probably overflowing. Let's do this right now. So here's my first serving spoon. So this serving spoon is probably a good half cup, okay? But this was my smaller one. Probably a little more because it's cereal and it's not rice. Okay? Now let's try it with the bigger one. Don't serve yourself with serving spoons. If you're going to serve yourself with a serving spoon, you want to buy a smaller one and you want to stick to one. And just put other things on the plate. Like I said, start with the soup, have the main course, have the salad. See how you feel. You might be super stuffed after all that liquid and fiber. You don't need that extra rice. Remember, you probably want it as a topper. We need carbohydrates. Carbs convert into sugar that fuel our brains and muscles. So we need carbohydrates. We just don't need a ton. Okay, so I found this really cool plate on Amazon. It's called Rehabilitation Advantage 3 Compartment Portion Plate with Lid. It's basically a plate that's divided in 3 and probably a little better than this, okay? And it has a lid to it and it's perfectly portioned out. So you might want to consider, if you feel you're having a rough time kind of controlling your portions and not really knowing how much you're putting on your plate of rice or pasta or whatever, and it's only $12.95 for 2 of them. A quick way to kind of visualize things if you're in a restaurant or a party or somebody's house and you're really not sure how much is on your plate or how much you're serving yourself out is whatever your palm is what a serving of protein will be. Whether it's chicken, fish, or meat, a portion is about 3 ounces. Now, if you're a big, tall man, your palm will be bigger. And that means you clearly need more because you're a bigger, taller man. A fist full is usually vegetables, but I tell people have as many vegetables as you want. A tennis ball is usually the amount of fruit. The tip of your thumb here, like this portion here, would be a serving of fat. It could be butter or olive oil. A cupped hand is usually a portion of carbohydrates. Play with it. See what a cup of rice looks like, what a cup of pasta looks like. So then when you're out, when you're at a restaurant or a takeout place or wherever, you kind of get an idea of what portions look like, all right? That's really, really important. You want to end your meal with something different than a sweet treat. And I'm not saying you can't have a sweet, okay, if you want to, but if you're having 2 treats a day or treats all the time, then you kind of want to be mindful about that, right? So how about brewing a flavorful cup of decaf cinnamon tea or chocolate tea or herbal fruit tea and just enjoy that beautiful steeped essence and aroma in your hand. Really enjoying that warmth after a meal or with that beautiful flavor infused fruit or cinnamon might be an idea. You want to try to eat food takes a little bit of work, okay? So things like shelling pistachios. So the action of peeling takes time and then eating and chewing. And my daughter reminded me this morning, she's like, yeah, tell them about the red cabbage. If you're eating raw cruciferous vegetables, I'm telling you, there's a lot of chewing going on, okay? I'm not promoting fatty meat and fatty steak or beef or whatever. And sure, if you have a little bit extra protein, it's not the end of the world, but you also don't want to be eating gargantuan portions of meat protein. Protein can tax the kidneys, saturated fat. If your diet is heavy on saturated fat, anything that comes from an animal will have saturated fat. You're not doing your heart any kind of service, okay? We want to watch people's cholesterol levels. You know, we want to watch the amount of fat they're getting in their diet. So if it's a little bit more protein and if it's lean and it's grilled, sure. I also love to recommend plant-based proteins like beans and tofu and tempeh and nuts and seeds. Again, you want to watch the portions with nuts, especially. Portioning that out, 1/4 of a cup is a serving of nuts. With these low carb diets is, yeah, you're going to lose weight because you're not eating a whole group of foods. So clearly you're going to lose weight. Carbs hold a lot of fluid with them. So when you eliminate the carbohydrates, your body starts to diurese. So you're eliminating a lot of liquid from your body. So you're thinking it's fat, but it's a lot of fluid weight that actually your body needs. And a lot of these diets are just not sustainable. You know, people end up gaining the weight back. So you could try it if that's what you want to do, but I don't really preach those kinds of diets because I know that people will come back, they're dissatisfied, they've gained the weight back, and, you know, not a lot of fun for them now. What do you think of that? I love it. Lots of great questions. I hope this was interesting. I hope this is something that you can take with you and that you can try on a daily basis. But until then, I bid you adieu to good health and to excellent food.